We've got a lot of stops to make. We're heading to the Canton Chronicle watch party. Check it out. Okay, guys, behave. Let's get inside and join this watch party.
Eric, we've got a great show for tonight. Let's get this watch party started.
John, I am so excited about tonight. I love watch parties. Eric, I'm gonna get this party started.
One point during the evening, he came in. I don't remember if he came into the dispatch or if I just saw him on one of the numerous monitors we have in dispatch. I can't leave that room because I'm the only one in the building on midnight. So, but we never talked or anything like that.
He said I never talked to Higgins. Maybe saw him on the cam. 6 minutes in the control room. What a solid little jam. Boy, he played it straight, but the footage rolled him flat. Now got a text from Brock to hit. Guess who's wearing that hat? Goods gone bad. From the badge to the bench, drowning in excuses, smelling that stench. The text don't lie, but the witness sure tried. Now it's suspended with pay, while the truth gets fried. Dispatch to Fairview, cruisers in the loop. 2 in the back lot, 1 watching the troop. Can't fulfill the order, but he'll fulfill the spin. Didn't see a thing, but I'll testify again. Goods gone bad in the Canton code. Another one falling down. And now the blast is cleared. Your text chain singing, the end is near. Badge on the vest, still collecting that check. Town watching karma come for the wreck. Every lie a brick, every cover a wall. Now that wall crashing it is taking them all. Goods gone bad. You can hear the clang. Proctor's text rang out, that's the sound of bang. From the stand to the station, truth got played, but the Chronicle called it and the price got paid.
It's her friend.
Anyone? Anyone?
Inconceivable!
Okay. First. Careful, we have very small children in the house, so let's turn that down, please.
Everybody calm down.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of your Canton Zoning Board of Appeals. Tonight being May 28th, 2026. It
will provide a report documenting information gathered through the process to date. Massachusetts personnel and privacy laws limit what may be publicly shared regarding specific employment matters. The town will have no further comment at this time. I just want to remind everyone that we are being recorded by Canton Community Television. Okay, we will start with public comment. The public comment portion of the meeting is an opportunity to listen to residents' feedback and concerns, but the public comment portion of the meeting is not meant to be a question and answer format. There will be no response to any public comment when presented. The public comment portion of the meeting is limited to 15 minutes total and 3 minutes per speaker. I would encourage those who do not wish to speak to be mindful of others in the room who wish to do the same, so that we can make the most of the time allotted and hear from as many people as possible. Anyone who does not wish to speak or who is unable to speak due to the time limit may submit their comments in writing for the board's review and consideration. Ms. Sweeney.
All set? Okay. Brenda Sweeney, Canton, my opinion. In a letter to Norfolk County residents, Bill O'Donnell, the Norfolk County Register of Deeds, wrote, "The 28 towns and cities of Norfolk County pay almost $8 million annually to the Norfolk County Commissioners and Norfolk County government. Is this money better kept in the local towns to fund their own budget priorities?" In 2023, the Commissioners accepted $10 million for selling the Quincy Courthouse. The communities of Norfolk County built and maintained that courthouse, yet the Norfolk County government did not ask or offer local communities a share in that $10 million. Independent audit results from 2021 found the county-funded mandate was deficient in the fiscal year 2020. Another audit released in August of 2023 found, for the current fiscal year, this leaves a potential range of misstatements within the county's financial statements between $645,000 and $2.3 million between respective fund balances. Not liking that result, the commissioners themselves brought in a separate auditing firm. In 2024, that firm wrote, "These large fluctuations indicate that this is a systemic problem in how the accounts are being used and not a one-time error." In trying to justify and defend their illegal and unlawful actions, they spent hundreds of thousands of your tax dollars on legal fees, and the towns and city in Norfolk County are potentially liable for the Norfolk County government. The Norfolk County Commissioners have lost in a number of different courts in litigation involving the Registry of Deeds. They violated a number of Massachusetts state laws by unlawfully interfering with registry operations and misappropriating taxpayer public monies designated by the state for the registry's use. Their behavior should be a signal to the people of Norfolk County to take a closer look at this layer of government. Elsewhere, in protest of the same commissioners attempting to turn their campus into a solar farm, one student from the Norfolk County Aggie wrote, "This project threatens to destroy over 7.5 acres of vital forest and land that serve as an essential outdoor classroom for our students. These forests are integral for hands-on learning in plant and pest identification, soils, botany, and landscape maintenance. This land is not just trees and dirt. It is a living laboratory where students gain real-world skills that prepare us for future careers in agriculture, conservation, and environmental science. Personally, I urge you to sign the petition for a ballot question to abolish this unnecessary layer of government, as 8 of 14 counties in Massachusetts have already done. We don't need to pay them to manage our money and manage it poorly at that." Kathy Gibbs McCormick, Eric G. Girolamo, and I have the petition if anybody wants to sign it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Okay. We would now love to hear from.
Madam Chair, we have a presentation from Kids Camp.
Excellent.
Mr. Mike Mahan.
Good evening. First of all, thank you for giving us our time on this very, very busy schedule. We have 5 minutes And if we do our job correctly, we'll give you guys back at least a minute. Back in 1989, 3 people were sitting at the kitchen table at 1 o'clock in the morning trying to decide what to do with this thing called Kids Camp. But the mantra was very clear. It was to show the strength and fragility of the Canton community for 10 Irish lads and lasses who came from an economically deprived section of Dublin. 37 years later, last year we had 1,200 campers on the field. Planning was done by 50 high school students and 8 adults, a far cry from where we began. And the mantra for camp is very simple. It's a 4-letter word: hope. Hope that the families send their campers so that they will recognize a role model in a high school student. Hope for the high school students that they in turn find themselves enriched by being a role model for somebody else. And strangely enough, the town of Canton receives hope for what we as a community are capable of doing. Kids Camp cannot happen without town support. It's just absolutely impossible.
Hello, I'm Caitlin Reynolds. I'm a committee head for Kids Camp, and I would like to thank the Select Board town administrators.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Sullivan. I'm a committee head for Kids Camp, and I would like to thank the school department and the police department.
Hello, my name is Joey Ryan. I'm also a committee head for Kids Camp, and I would like to thank the rec department, the fire department, and the water department.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie Mullen, and I'm also a committee head for Kids Camp this year, and I'd like to thank the health and building department.
Hi, everyone. My name's Robbie Dixon. I'm the president of Kids Camp this year. And tonight I'd like to thank the St. Oscar Mero Parish. I'd like to thank Draper Industries for letting us use their space. And especially I'd like to thank the Irish Cultural Center for welcoming us this year and letting us use their fields for camp.
Our little town has been through the mill, and one shining light will happen July 13th through the 17th. I hope and we pray for your support, because as I mentioned earlier, without the town being a participant in this, it's not going to happen. And more from being a little church thing to a community thing many, many years ago. So in honor of what you have done for us and our appreciation, we have something very special for you. Anna? Go.
Oh, thank you.
If you could find some place appropriate to hang that besides the closet, we'd appreciate it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That was taken
Thank
with a
you.
drone, I'm guessing. That's beautiful. Oh, fantastic.
Thank you.
That's gorgeous. Thank you so much.
And again, thank you. And I apologize to the chairman because I sent an email to you, but I sent it on my work thing, so you may never got it. So I meant to
Okay,
contact
we're all
with you
good.
directly. So
Yes.
thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Take
for
care.
coming. Uh-oh, precious.
Absolutely.
Madam Chair, a statement for,
Yes,
From you?
thank you. Yes, yet another statement from me. I like this one better. Standing together. In the interest of community unity and tolerance, the Select Board condemns any acts of discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, national origin, gender identity, sex, sexual orientation, age, disability, or lifestyle, including all forms of religious intolerance, misogyny, homophobia, xenophobia, racism, and bullying, cyber or otherwise. Further, the board condemns any acts of violence targeted at police officers or first responders. Accordingly, the Select Board invites all the citizens of Canton to work with their neighbors, regardless of party affiliation, to continue to make Canton, Massachusetts, a place we can all be proud to call home.
Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair, the next would be review of zero emission vehicle first policy.
Press B. B? I think B. Yeah.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you. Madam Chair, thank you and members of the Select Board, thank you for allowing us to present to you this evening. And special thanks to Interim Town Administrator Jen Camillian for helping us set this up. It's been a busy time for the Sustainability Climate Action Plan Committee. It's an important time to try to move several things forward. So I'm Greg Murphy. I'm a member of the Sustainability Climate Action Plan Committee, and I'm here tonight with Jen Wexler, our Vice Chair. And as the title says, we want to present to you the Zero Emissions Vehicle First Policy. Present an overview for you and hopefully address any questions you may have, and ultimately request that the Select Board adopt this policy. So without further ado, I'd like to show you where we stand today. So Canton has been on the path to becoming a climate leader community for a period of time now, and we're getting close. We've been a green community in good standing for a while. Obviously, with the Select Board's vote, we established and currently maintain a committee to lead the clean energy and climate activities. The Select Board adopted a climate action plan and the decarbonization roadmap. There's a little flag there that I'll explain in just a second. And town meeting in May approved to adopt the specialized energy code. So the last checkbox to fill at this point is to adopt the zero emissions vehicle first policy. And that comes with a caveat. The decarbonization roadmap still needs to be approved by the school committee as well as the zero emissions vehicle first policy. But I think, as you know, they typically follow the Select Board on this. This is why we are seeking your approval. The school committee has one more meeting before they break for the summer on the 11th. And we're trying to basically get on their agenda to get their approval for that as well. So we can talk a little bit more about that. But let me go on by saying the zero emission vehicle first policy, or ZEVF policy, is to enhance our vehicle procurement policy to reduce fossil fuels in our municipal and school fleet. A key thing to note here, it does not require any acceleration in any plan to replace the fleet. By adopting this policy, what it means is that when it comes time to replace a vehicle, you will consider a battery electric vehicle first, or an EV first. And if that doesn't meet the operational, fiscal, and financial feasibility requirements of the town, then we would consider a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. And if that doesn't meet those requirements, we would consider the hybrid electric vehicle. And finally, if none of those either are available or meet our needs, we would seek to purchase a fuel-efficient internal combustion engine vehicle, or an ICE-V, which is currently the policy that we have in place today as part of our green communities commitment. So what does the ZEVF policy change? Well, there is a reporting change. Currently, the town of Canton has to report vehicle inventory through the green communities And I'm trying to remember the energy, there's a site for it that they use.
Yes.
I probably have it in my notes here.
Yeah.
Mass
Thank
Energy
you.
Insight website. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
So anyway, so that would continue. The one change for that is there'll be a new field that's added to it. And that new field is basically a planned replacement year. I'm going to get to this in a little more detail, but the key piece of that is the plan for non-exempt vehicles. And that's really a key part of this policy because there are a lot of vehicles that are exempt from this policy in the town of Canton, in any town for that matter. But this new field basically is a matter of looking ahead and saying, okay, we plan to replace this vehicle in 2033, 2037, roughly, whatever, and continuing updating that every year as you do today with the, per the Green Communities commitment. The other aspect of this policy is when we try to recycle an existing vehicle. So we replace a vehicle and sometimes we want to use that replaced vehicle by giving it to another department to use that may not have one or may have one that is no longer meeting their needs, and this might meet it better. But the requirement there is that if we're going to reassign that vehicle, it basically has to be more fuel efficient than the vehicle it's replacing. So those are the key administrative and reporting changes to the policy. Any questions so far? I can go to the end and then I open up for questions as well, but happy to take questions along the way.
I think. Anyone?
So here I want to point out what the first policy is not. So while it's manageable, I feel it's a manageable requirement to electrify a manageable policy to electrify our fleet. It only applies to light duty vehicles, and that's vehicles that have 8,500 pound, actually that should say gross vehicle weight rating, which is, in case you ask, the vehicle's own weight plus the weight of passengers, fuel, cargo, and any accessories. So basically that's dictated by the manufacturer of the vehicle, what the capacity of a given vehicle is. So typically light duty trucks fall under that. Typical cars will fall under that. Medium and heavy duty vehicles, trucks, do not typically fall under that. They, like the F-250 or F-350 or the Chevy or Ram 25, 3500, those are medium and heavy duty vehicles. They would be exempt from this policy. But the F-150 or the Chevy Silverado 1500 or the Ram 1500, smaller trucks, they would fall under this policy. So it does not require an acceleration, as I mentioned, of any vehicle replacement timeline. It only applies to vehicles when they're being replaced. It also does not require purchasing a ZEF vehicle if it doesn't meet the operational needs, which I mentioned earlier as well. And the policy that we provided when we submitted the slide deck, I believe, Jen, the policy was also submitted. It explicitly notes an exemption process to that. What it comes down to, if you look for one of those vehicles and you can't find one that meets the needs, then there'll be a notation made that we look for it. It doesn't meet this requirement. I'd like an exemption, and the policy states that the town administrator can approve that exemption. And as I mentioned, it does not apply to the heavy duty vehicles. So the result is that it actually affects a limited number of well, it says municipal, but it's also municipal and school fleets. So this is as of, I think, last year's inventory report through the Canton Mass Energy Insight. There were a total of 166 vehicles, and of those, 146 are exempt. It applies to 20 vehicles, and you can see in the list, who it actually affects. 6 in the DPW, 1 in the Board of Health. I can read down, but so can you. So, as I said, it's a very limited number of vehicles this policy would apply to. So the goal of all this, as we mentioned earlier, is to become a climate leader community, and this is one of the requirements. And if we can achieve climate leader community status, we have the ability to, we will open up the option to get decarbonization accelerator grants as well as technical support grants. And this is going to help, and I need that term again, the And
Oh.
what was that term I told you to remember for me?
Okay, so you're looking for.
That was in the, that one,
The
yeah.
comprehensive.
It's going to
energy
help the whole
management
comprehensive
strategy.
energy management
Comprehensive energy
strategy,
management strategy.
which is something we want to come before you on another day and really present you the whole strategy. I realize we've been running around trying to do things piecemeal here, and we owe you, really comprehensive strategy. We have it put together, and we've discussed it in parts, but again, in a future meeting, we would love to get on your calendar to talk about the whole strategy. But this is all plays into that whole strategy. And the reason we're asking for I think it's an exception tonight, because you don't typically review a policy and vote on it tonight. So we're asking for the exemption to do that if it's possible. And the reason for that is there's an application deadline for August 7th for that next decarbonization accelerator round. In order to be able to meet that, we need to have been certified by the end of this month as a climate leader community. So we need those check boxes I showed at the beginning all checked off before we can do that. And we can talk a little more detail on this, but if we do not meet those deadlines, then the earliest that we can obtain CLC status is the end of the year, which would mean that any grant funding would be delayed applying for any grant funding would be delayed until February. And ultimately, the way our budget cycle works, I think what it ultimately means is it will delay any of these plans for a full fiscal year. And again, we can talk in a little more detail around that. But yeah, so becoming a CLC community would make Canton among the first 40 communities statewide, and it'd be a meaningful position for us to, for future grant cycles as well. So for us, the next step would be to, this is after this presentation, again, to get on your future calendar, we need to review the decarbonization work plan, which is part of the contract that Greener U, that the board funded with mitigation funds. I think it was earlier this year, right? Mm-hmm. Earlier this year. So, I mean, you've seen a lot of their work in helping with getting the specialized energy code passed, but they've also been working on an audit of the 10 most energy used, a better term for that, the 10 buildings in Canton that use the most energy. There's a better term, shorter term for that, but I can't think of it right now. So anyway, that audit has been completed, and now we're working on it, finalizing the decarbonization work plan. The challenge there is that was what was agreed to in this current contract, and the current contract comes to an end at the end of this month. So in addition to the next major bullet, updating the committee governance structure, which I think we've talked a little bit about with some of you individually, I'll briefly touch on that. The Sustainability Committee and the Sustainability Climate Action Plan committees both have much overlap, and in the case of the latter, we basically completed the task. We developed the Climate Action Plan. Once we get the sign off on all these aspects, our task for that committee is complete. But we want to update the governance structure for the committee to then propose to you an updated committee to help work with the town to implement the Climate Action Plan. And in order to be able to do that, now we lead to the next bullet. Ultimately, in the short term, we would need consulting. And we're hoping, again, the ask is to be on your calendar next meeting to present to you the proposal to extend Greener U for another, I think, 6 months. Yeah, for another 6 months. And my understanding is if the contract is under $50,000, it doesn't have to go out to rebid. So it's a more efficient way. And we know the team we're working with, and we'd like to continue with them. But again, that's part of the next proposal. And they would help us obviously implement the work plan and all the other things that we're talking about. And then ultimately, I think it'll be, again, some of you, I know it's been discussed with the interim town administrator, a staffing plan. Tom Birmingham has been basically the energy sustainability manager for the town, on a volunteer basis. To move a lot of the climate action plan goals forward, the town really needs a full-time position to focus on that. Implementing those goals, establishing the policies that help all the departments meet those goals, pursuing the grant opportunities that we're talking about. As a committee, we can certainly help that individual, but there are going to be limitations that, we have as not being town employees. So ultimately, our goal, again, would be part of that comprehensive energy management strategy that you'll see, the staffing request as well. And all of this comes down to helping us implement that decarbonization work plan. So with that, our ask tonight is for the select board to adopt the zero emissions vehicle first policy for the municipal fleet. And then again, the next select board meeting, if we could ask upfront to authorize funding to extend green EU's engagement based on the presentation that we would give at the next meeting, and approve the restructuring of those two committees I mentioned into a new climate action plan implementation committee. And then finally, in the future select board meeting, we can talk about the grant approval application process, assuming all this stuff moves forward as we're hoping, and ultimately that comprehensive energy management plan. And with that, I will open it up to questions.
Here through you.
Yes.
Thank you for the presentation. Is there someone we can chat with in a town? I think I met someone at the Earth Day who lives in Sharon and is the energy manager for Watertown.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just would love to be able to chat with
Ellis
someone.
Seiler, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
We can put you in touch with him.
Yeah, thank you. No.
Is there a particular?
No, I just wanted. I want to know, what I know he's done a lot and he's gotten a lot of money for Watertown, but I'd want him to kind of give me a synopsis. How long he's been there, what he's achieved, what his goals are. All the things.
I'm happy to broker, an email between
That'd
you
be
and
great.
him, or the select board and him, and you could have that discussion.
Thank you.
How are we doing? Anyone?
Yes.
Mike.
Thank you, through your chair. So thank you for the presentation and of course for all the hard work that you guys put into this. I have a couple of questions about chicken and the egg here. Like, why are we approving this electrical vehicle policy without knowing what the total plan is? Why are we being asked to do it when we don't know what the schools have weighed in? Like, why aren't you approaching the schools, and then the select board and the school committee is talking about, like, does this make sense for the budget? You're asking to fund the consultant for 6 months. As you know, when we brought this consultant on, it took a while to come up with a job description of what this person was going to be working on. So what's the job description for the next 6 months? So I just feel like there are a lot of questions, and to ask us to approve this tonight, to waive the exemption and approve this tonight, I can't support that. I have too many questions about what is the overall plan. And I know you were saying that this is time critical because of grants that are available. What grants are you applying for? Like that might obligate the town for future spending that we don't know about. So there are a lot of questions that aren't answered that I would want information on before I could support. I think the policy is fantastic. It makes perfect sense. I don't see any, the only thing that I had a question on that I would want more clarification is repurposing vehicles. So if Parks and Rec has a pickup truck and they get a new electronic vehicle, and the Veterans Office, their car's falling apart, but it happens to be 23 miles per hour per gallon, and the other one's 19, we can't swap that out. Like, that doesn't make sense, when we're trying to save money whenever we can. So I wouldn't want to be limited to, I can't give that truck to the Veterans Office because it gets a few miles per gallon more. So I have a lot of questions, and I don't know if that's answered in the overall plan, but I would want to see the overall plan before I could get behind this. I apologize.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, and I will say in a perfect world, that is the way we would have done it. I will say the June 30th cutoff became known to us only recently, which swapped things around in our head. And we felt it was important to at least present this to you with this ask, because it makes sense to move forward. And I understand you'd be taking my word for that because you haven't seen the plan that we're working on and finalizing. The reason we really want to move this forward is basically because it's a limited commitment. I think the biggest aspect of that concern you raised, if in that scenario, if you had a vehicle that happened to be worse mileage, no, you would not be able to transition it in that case. I know that happens once every couple of years where we do transition a vehicle from my capital planning experience. So that's not one I believe we can work around. But the other aspects of this policy and the limited impact to the number of vehicles, all of the off-ramps, if it doesn't meet the need that this policy allows, to me makes it an easy lift. You asked a lot of questions, and I had answers to some of them, but I'm generalizing there. If you want to knock them with me one at a time, I can try to tell you if I can answer them now.
So one of my concerns, so the reason that we have a consultant is because when this was presented to the select board way back when, it was to use a grant to hire a person. But the grant, once that expired, obligated the town to pay that person's salary. And so without seeing what the full plan is, it's irresponsible of this board to support something that might obligate funding that we haven't foreseen yet. And you see all these towns that are failing to get overrides. Like, I just don't want to set us up for what could be failure. I do take your word for it. I know your stuff with capital and and I agree. This is a no-brainer of a policy.
Yeah.
But I just don't know the whole picture, so I can't support without knowing the whole picture.
So let me see if I can just add a little bit. You're asking really good questions, and I appreciate that. So let's break it down. So part of the overall situation is that Greener U has been our consultant, and you helped to hire them, which was really good for the town. And they've been in the process of looking at the buildings and in terms of their life cycles for their energy systems and which ones are really in need, using the most energy and in need of replacement because they are getting to the end of their life cycles. And so part of what achieving climate leader status does for us is it provides the town with access to grants to fund those kinds of projects. We have to put it together. It's not like it just happens magically. It's work to apply for those grants, to say, here's the project, and so on and so forth. So Greener U is finalizing that report that will be accessible to all of us to say, here's the priority buildings, here's what needs to be done. And so in order to then access the funding to apply to these projects that have been demonstrated by the work that Greener U has done, we need just a couple of more ducks in order. So that means that the select board adopt the zero emissions vehicle first policy. And part of the timing on that is the school department has made very clear to us that they're not going to get out ahead of the select board, that they will follow you on this. And so we fully expect that has been what they've said, and they will be good to their word because they understand this can only benefit the school department and the municipality and the town side in terms of our buildings. In terms of this broader plan that Greg was talking about, it's more of a strategy to help with the implementation of the climate action plan and decarbonization roadmap. And part of that is, how do we do that? How do we continue to do this work? And so the plan that he's referring to is more aspirational than a factual plan like that will obligate us to X, Y, and Z. Now, in terms of the urgency on the timing, there's also the aspect of if if there are certain aspects of the work that needs to be done on the buildings, and you're going to say, okay, well, we want to apply these grants as Greg spoke about. If we keep delaying, the more we delay, the more the costs increase. And the more we delay, the more we'll have to go through, capital planning and, the whole budget cycle. So the idea is if we can move, pivot at this point and approve the policy, which is really your last step for us becoming a climate leader community, we hope that the school committee and superintendent will follow the lead of the select board because they've said that is their intention. And then we can move forward on accessing these grants. And it doesn't force the town into, it doesn't force us to accept the grants. I mean, we can apply for them. We can see if there are matches, what does that mean? And move forward from there. So does that help with what you were thinking about?
It does. The only part
Well. How the
is schools will
turntables.
just, go hand in hand with the select board. Like, I don't want you to go to the meeting and say, select board supported this because now the schools feel obligated. Like the schools
That's
should.
what they've said to us.
Yeah.
We haven't said that to them. That's what they've told us. They've told us, go to the select board first, get their approval, and we will follow. This is not something that we've told them. They've told us.
Yeah, no, I understand that,
Yeah.
but I would want the school committee to be able to vet this and ask their questions.
Oh,
And then
we fully intend
Just to
that.
clarify that.
Work
when we
back
say
with-
They will follow me, what we mean by that. They're not going to necessarily just arbitrarily approve it because you approved it, but they don't want to consider approving it until you have basically approved this policy.
But I think the step that's missing is you present this to the select board, you present it to the school committee. The select board and the school committee should then have a conversation about, what did you think of that? Is this something we can support? Looking at your future budgets and your capital planning, does this make sense?
Okay. I'm not aware that was how it happened, because I know the select board approved the climate action plan and decarbonization roadmap, and it's been a year since then, and the school committee has not yet, because we timed it poorly last year as well, and ran out of runway for them to basically review and approve. I don't know if I wasn't aware that you already had conversations with them about collectively that plan.
So I know we talked to them when there was the potential to use a grant to hire an energy person.
Of course.
But that energy person the grant was written that it was a heavy focus on the schools. And that hadn't been presented to the schools.
Well, but to that point, with our current Greener U, Brian Lynch is very much involved in the project, and they've been working as closely with Brian in the schools as they have been working with Rob Martin on the town side. So that work has been very collegial and cooperative and understood. Also for the newly formed committee, we have identified that one of the positions on the newly formed Climate Action Plan Implementation Committee would be a representative from the school department, to your point.
That's great.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I want to acknowledge Mr. Loughran's concerns because it's a lot of information and multi-steps, and ideally, the 2 weeks are set up for a purpose, I imagine, to vet and ask more questions. However, given the just robust work of this committee and the history of the work and the intersectionality of your involvement in other committees in the town, like the Capital Planning Committee, I would like to ask that if we distill this, like the one slide that has the triangle of, if I don't know if you can put that up again, but if we just distill that this is what we're really talking about, which is if we need a new vehicle in one of those 20 that are, eligible for this, there is a certain tier that you go through. So if it's not affordable, then you go down to the next tier. If that's not affordable, you go down to the last tier, which we're already doing. So this presentation is robust and somewhat complicated in the sense of if you're jumping into this, at any point. But when it comes down to it, I think, and tell me if I'm correct, the ask here is just to check this last box, which will reveal our opportunity as one of 40 climate leader communities to attain grants more quickly before A, costs rise, and B, more communities become climate leaders, so we're not having as much competition.
I think you've really summarized the heart of the matter perfectly.
Okay, so I just think that is important because I don't think this is a hefty presentation and the concept is detailed and the next steps seem very complicated. And I think we all would like to probably say we need more time for next steps, like more time to review this. But given this small ask within a very large scope, I think it seems reasonable.
I appreciate that. And also, just to be clear, the reference to the comprehensive energy management strategy is not dependent on this approval. Like that's like the frosting on the cake. Looking forward, how do we sort of put this path forward in terms of the decarbonization roadmap that has already been approved by the Select Board and the climate action plan that's been approved. So this is just the piece to access resources for the town, for those buildings that have been assessed and will have needs, and potentially other really important projects for the municipality.
Mr. Locker, that goes back directly to the concern you raised, is we have that concern too, that you haven't seen the full picture yet. And we keep hitting you with these one-off scenarios, and we owe you that. We know that. But as Ms. Beckham said, the challenge here is the deadline we're running up against and the potential delay of a full fiscal year that we're trying to avoid. So, and as she also mentioned, the lift on this is not very heavy. And I'll go even so far as to say not only financially, if it doesn't operationally meet the needs of whatever that vehicle is going to be for, you have that off ramp as well to work your way down that pyramid until you ultimately land where you already are today.
Madam Chair, this policy seems to have a lot of fail-safes in it. Pressure valve, as they call it in one of your articles, saying that if the budget cycle doesn't allow it, you don't have to do it. You don't have to buy the thing. When you see this in writing, it sounds better. We don't want to push the town into a situation where we're buying an EV car and, we really don't have to. The budget doesn't call for it. My biggest concern about this, we're talking the fleet from the previous slide, 20 vehicles. Currently, I believe we have 2 to 4 vehicles. I believe one F-150 and one recreation vehicle. I believe there might be another one hanging around. We don't have the infrastructure for it. We're not ready for it. We're not ready to buy 20 electric cars to put at town hall where we have no charging station.
How
And
dare
then the
you!
charging stations, from the literature here, a stage 2 charging station could, be, 3 to 5 to 10,000, 15,000. A fast charger, 40 to 350K, depending on its location. Where are they going to get located? How do you prevent people from using them? I'm looking at the veterans. If he was to get a EV card, right now their office is at the basement at the Hemingway, and to put a charger out there anywhere would be pretty problematic. Town hall is a problematic area for an EV station with the limited parking we have, and to isolate it to that municipal vehicle only that we don't have yet. But I would rather have that infrastructure in prior to us buying EV cards instead of saying, okay, we're all going to park up at Pequot and call it a day. I think the policy has conditions, but even our mechanics, are they ready for this? We don't have any specialized training programs that I know of to work on these vehicles. They don't, and I imagine they plug into a computer like all of them do and have some software, and we don't know what the cost to the town that would be for the training or whatever. Similar to Mr. Lochran was saying, is the costs are not in front of us. Right now it's saying zero cost, let's prove this and see what happens. Judging from the numbers that are on this for these charging stations, or is it the fact, and this might be, I might be reading through this a little bit more, that because we checked off this box, we could probably get a grant to fund what I'm talking about. And that's the grants an if, because we say it's up to $1 million, there's 40 towns, is it the same $1 million? It's not $1 million for each town, so it concerns me that we're not ready for the full force of EV vehicles, and I'm talking 20 vehicles. That's what was
Great
dictated.
questions.
Huh?
Okay,
You
got
bring
great
up a
questions.
lot of points.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No.
So it's my concern, the numbers aren't there. We're not structurally ready to accept these EV cars, which the ones that you mentioned are perfect probably for EV cars. It's just that if we're talking, let's just hypothetically need 10 charging stations at 20,000, that's $200,000. And what's the maintenance on them things? And I look at Pequot Farm right now, and I don't see 10 EV cars there. So it's concerning that it's like we're jumping ahead of this policy, but I'm going to give you the.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate it.
Go ahead.
Again,
I'm going to give you this,
Thank you.
saying that they're almost forcing you to do this by the time frame to get any possible funding to further things. So it's complicated, but I'm very concerned about agreeing to something that we have absolutely no plan as to where
You
anything's
have some
going.
valuable responses to your
Yeah.
concerns.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
So
Good.
Yeah, no, you
You've
brought
hit
up
on
a
really
lot
good
of good points. So yes, for the grants we mentioned, it does require to become a climate leader community certification, and that does require passing this policy to do that. With regard to the charging aspect, you mentioned a cost, in the several $100,000 range.
Well, that's from that paperwork, your paperwork, not mine.
So I think, was that shared? Okay.
Yeah.
So what you read there is a Google search indicates that, but if you read further, you'll see that that's for a DC fast charger, which is not what we need for the town. Typically, we would not need that for the town. Typically, what you need is a charger that allows you to plug in overnight, because these vehicles will travel hundreds of miles on a full charge. So if you charge overnight on a level 2 charger, in 6 to 8 hours, it's fully charged. It can run the full next day. And that would permit you to then bring it back to where you charged it for the next day. So yeah, the 350,000 was for the fully installed DC fast charger.
I have level 2,
But the level 2 charger, if you read further down, I believe, I don't know what page number, under installation cost, it's in more of the $3,000 to $10,000 range. So that's one aspect of it. I'm sorry?
Then there's funding for it.
And then the other aspect of it is there are grants and funds to pay for that, so it could actually be nearly zero, if not zero, to put those in. Another aspect of that is, again, we're not doing a wholesale swap out of the fleet. So we might replace one of those 20, 2 of those 20. Let's be aggressive and say we're going to replace 3 of those 20 with electric vehicles. So now we're talking about needing to be able to charge 3 electrical vehicles. And that's what we're talking about, needing 3 charging stations in the right location. And those costs are somewhat variable depending on how close to, how much electrical wiring and stuff is required for it, in the location where you want to park. In terms of locations, again, we're talking about vehicles that need to park somewhere overnight to be able to charge. So even at town hall overnight, they would not be taking parking spots away from anybody that, from the public that would be using them to be able to fully charge. So at the end of the workday, if you wanted to have a vehicle here hooked up to a charger, if those vehicles that you're using today are already parked here, you're already using up that spot. So we're talking about the same spot. So we're not losing any additional spots by putting a charging station where that vehicle is already parked today and now is going to become electric and needs a charger there. You mentioned, another aspect of it, the training and the mechanics and the training that's needed for that. That's another very good question. So the training for town employees that would service these fleets, again, we're talking about a handful of vehicles at a time being added to the mix here. So maybe a couple mechanics you would want to train. Well, currently, again, it's for a limited time, and unfortunately that hasn't been defined for us, but for a limited time, that training is free. And not only is it free, it can be customized to our specific town's needs. The ACDC New Energy Fleet Tech Training Program is a hands-on training program designed specifically for municipal fleet technicians across Massachusetts. It's delivered over 5 days in 3 structured training units, and it covers high voltage safety, systems training, and so on. But the other aspect of this is the type of maintenance that these vehicles need. So a regular internal combustion engine vehicle needs regular oil changes, needs spark plugs replaced, all those types of things that everyone is probably familiar with. For an electric vehicle, none of that is required. What's typically required for an electrical vehicle is, because it does the regeneration so you don't have to brake, it actually regenerates. You might have to lube the calipers once a year, depending on how often you drive it. Tire rotations are typical. Windshield washer fluid. I'm speaking for my own EV. These are the expenses I've had on my. Oh, and an air filter needs to be replaced every few years. That's the maintenance on these vehicles. The training I was referring to is more safety training than actual how to service the vehicle training. Sure, there's going to be certain aspects. If the vehicle needs to go up on a lift, you have to have these, $50 blocks to be able to put them in a certain place on your lift, so you're not lifting in the wrong place and damaging the battery. But other than that, there'd be a week of time to dedicate 1 or 2, or however many you want to send to the training. And like I said, right now, it's free training. And again, we're only talking about the vehicles that we're replacing this year or next year or the year after that would need that. I don't know if I addressed all of them yet.
You did. But once again, when it comes to training, okay, we have, employees, right? And usually when it comes to training, it's off a dollar. You're marking out 2 guys, maybe the top mechanic and the other mechanic. I mean, how does that work? I mean, does other employees I want to take that training? I mean, it happens in a union environment. That cost, and this cost here on the training, if it's under a grant, well, that's one thing, but if it's basically $5,500 an individual, and we have 3 individuals now, we're close to 18,000, never mind we're paying them the week to do that. So that's another 3 weeks. So that cost now becomes 28,000. It just keeps building, and we're heading that way. When you don't see the number in front of you, I don't see it's going to cost nothing. And I don't believe nothing's free. But if there was a cost to say, okay, if we implement A, B, C, and D with 3 cars, with 2 charges, what would be the cost to we don't even have them numbers. We don't have those numbers. So that makes it difficult. I just am the opt out of this that's in this language basically says if the budget doesn't allow it, we don't have to do it. Is that what, am I getting that, Mike? Are you thinking that same thing? Because that's the savior of this whole thing to get us to the next level. It says that basically if our budget doesn't allow us to do this, we don't have to do it. But that's just, one of those things you sign on the dotted line in this fine print somewhere, and I'm concerned about that fine print.
Sure.
All right, Trish is chomping at the bit here.
Well, just a few things regarding the electric cars. First of all, I support this because it's an absolute no-brainer. It would be good to talk with other towns who've done it. So for example, at the town meeting between the days, I called different towns and spoke with the Assistant Director of Finance in Dedham. They have a Mach-E traffic car, which is the car I drive. And yeah, you're right. You've got a battery, so you only have to deal with your brakes. I've had the car for 3 years this month. And so they have that car. They have a Chevy Eclipse, whatever they had to, on order. And then because they understand they're dealing with municipalities who have capital replacements every year. So they understand it's a long game of getting even these 20 cars replaced. It's like a 1Z, 2Z kind of thing annually. My Charger was $1,500 3 years ago. And it doesn't have to be at night. If they're working in an office, I'm sure there's some kind of swipe thing that they could do so it's people can't take advantage of it. I don't know that piece, or it can be at their home.
Right.
So anyway, there's that. So whether they're in the office 5 days, 5 hours, then they have to go out for 3 hours to appointments, they'll be fine. It's going to be okay for anyone who has a municipal job in this town. They're not going to be traveling out of the town for their municipal job. Anyway, my car gets about 200 and some change on a full charge, so it will be okay. But Dedham is a good resource for us, and the lady said she'd be happy to chat with all of us, the Assistant Director of Finance there, just to see it real world, how it's working in other communities right next door to us. Yeah. And also, I just want to say one other thing. We did the stretch code in 2017, and since then, y'all have brought in $1 million worth of grants to this town. So I can't thank you enough. And the last one was the $250,000 heat pump replacement at the senior center. So, I mean, we're on the right track, and we have to continue moving forward. And this is not a heavy lift because they understand how municipalities work. We're not going to go out and buy 20 cars. We can't.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Talk a little bit about the comparative cost of operating an electric vehicle versus operating a combustion engine vehicle in terms of fuel and maintenance costs.
Sure. So when people think about the cost of electric vehicles, oftentimes they look at the purchase price, the initial purchase price. And really the smart way to look at this is the total cost of ownership.
Exactly.
Today, most electric vehicles cost a little bit more, several thousand more than the current internal combustion engine version of that same vehicle. But those numbers are coming down. That gap is quickly closing. In fact, it's closing quicker than people think. But again, if you look at the total cost of ownership, then you're talking about the fuel savings. Well, on average, an electric vehicle will cost about $6,000 to $7,000 more to purchase, but you'll save an average of $1,600 a year on fuel alone. And that's based on the typical, I think it was 15 to 18,000 miles driven. And I don't know how that compares to a typical town vehicle, to be honest with you, but we're talking about annual savings there. So in a matter of 4 years, you basically recoup that cost just on fuel saving. On maintenance cost alone, maintenance cost as well, studies, and I've footnoted, in the document I shared, several studies that have actually analyzed this, but on average, maintenance costs are 30 to 40% lower than the equivalent vehicle. So in that case, we're talking about saving, and we're trying to find the number real quickly here, but I can't. But again, it's another thousands of dollars of savings over the life of the vehicle. We mentioned the incentives to acquire these vehicles. Those obviously will offset the initial purchase price of the vehicle. And I feel like I'm leaving something out, but there's think I covered the main aspects of it, but the end result is over the life of the vehicle, owning an electric vehicle equivalent of the same internal combustion engine vehicle will save you more, even with the additional $6,000, $7,000 upfront cost. And that's assuming no grants to fund it.
Right. Thank you. Can you talk about applying for these grants? Who is going to do these grant applications?
So this is the part that, you want to take that one?
Sure. So basically, this highfalutin name that Greg was talking about, the Comprehensive Energy Management Strategy, basically is in a one sentence summary. It's kind of like a Canton's building an integrated self-funding energy management system. So it's a self-funding system that would cover municipal buildings, fleets, schools, and community programs anchored in state and local policy, governed through coordinated municipal and school tracks, staffed by a dedicated energy and sustainability manager, and designed to take advantage of the climate leader certification grants that we would be able to access. So what I'm trying to say to you is that we would have a self-funding mechanism if, as we move forward with the climate leader status, we would be getting grants that would allow us to, build out a town-funded position of that nature that would pay for itself over time through these kinds of grants. So that's how that process would work.
Mm-hmm. And to JR's question about the pool of money, yeah, can you talk about that?
Anyone?
In terms of,
Anyone?
there's now 40 towns that are in the.
Yeah. No, so I think that was one I neglected to answer that you raised, Mr. McCourt. The $1 million is a per town, not
1.15 million per town.
And the additional 150,000 is for design and resources that would support basically the building, for example, the building energy updates and stuff like that. So that actually is on a per town basis. There is a pool of money assigned to it, but it's allocated that for every town that achieved the CLC status, that's what's available to them.
Inconceivable.
Thank you for that
Long way of saying
clarification.
it, I think, but I think I got it.
I also stand in full support of this. I just, again,
How
it's
dare
just not
you.
that heavy a lift, and there's plenty of escape valves here if, the town funding is strapped. So I don't really see a downside. That's because we're also creating tremendous opportunity to bring in grants to move us to that next level.
Right.
Like charging stations. Anyone else have any comments here?
Anyone?
I think that the elephant in the room here is talking about initiating a waiver and making that decision tonight, which I think, again, given the thinking about being proactive rather than reactive, I think the benefits far outweigh the risks to proceed with that. But I would like to know the will of the board on that.
And if we held off, Madam Chair, if we held this off, we should be still in the guidelines of time if we held it off till next
If we
meeting.
held off what, sir?
If the vote till next meeting, we should be within the guidelines of your time, right?
That's correct. The only
And then,
concern
yeah,
there is
I'm
that
saying this.
the school
School
committee's
committee.
last meeting is the 11th, and they wanted your approval before they offered theirs.
So you see how this goes, right? If we
That happens.
If we don't
Sure,
act, then they don't act, and then we're out of luck.
So when's the school committee meeting before us next time?
It's
They didn't want to act
June
until
11th.
we acted?
June 11th to, it's June.
That
we're
happens.
meeting on
Sure,
June
I'll take your
11th,
microphone
although
away.
we will
It's
be
not the
meeting
right way.
with the superintendent on Thursday, but their meeting is June 11th.
And we'll be asking them to basically make the similar exception to review and approve on the same night.
Mhm.
It-
Right, so
It's just one more hurdle to help, makes it harder for us to get it over with them to approve it as
Right.
well.
Right, they're looking for leadership from our side of the fence.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, tell me your thoughts
Anyone?
on that.
Anyone?
So I don't think that there's enough information here. If I look at this, it's really two pieces. So there's the EV policy, no-brainer layup.
That's all we're asking for tonight.
But by doing that, it allows us to apply for these grants and everything.
Correct.
And you're hoping that the person that applies for these grants is some energy consultant or staff person that we haven't hired yet. So I don't know the plan of how this is all going to be funded. So I get it that the position will pay for itself down the road, or we hope for it. I take your word at that, Greg.
Well, much like what's happening now, I mean, the town planner is applying for grants that,
Yep.
that are, you know, for the town for our purposes. In fact, he's helping us with the whole decarbonization work plan. So in lieu of that individual that isn't here today, you know, yeah, it would fall to someone like the town planner.
And the Climate Action Plan Committee has been very active in helping the town get the grants to get us to this
Yep,
point.
I know that.
And we have done that work.
And sadly, we'll continue even without Tom.
Yeah, sadly.
So I just got a piece of this, information at 3:00 today, and we had an exec session. I've been reading it, but I haven't really gone through it. So I'm not in favor of voting on this tonight. I just have too many questions. One member.
I'm just going to reiterate, the worst case scenario is, oh, we don't get any grants. Well, then we have an exemption to not buy these vehicles based on that it's not financially feasible.
Right.
So I, again, don't see a downside here to approving this policy.
The only, may I?
Yes, please.
I think, Mr. Lochran, when you just said the first part is a layup, I think that's what we have to go with here, because we don't know the next steps, but we're not committing to the next steps. We're just committing to this step. However, I also know that from the administration side, like, this is an exception, and I just want to acknowledge that that's an exception, and that I think that we do have to be very intentional if we move forward with this, that acknowledge that this timing is an exception, and that one that is not taken lightly just because we like it, or just because it's good for the environment, or just because ... I think that we have to be very intentional saying, that we would move forward with this if we do. That being said, it's my intention to vote for this.
How dare you?
Same. Okay. Chair?
We haven't, I don't remember making an exception like this when we have questions. So that's where I'm going to be hesitant. And I think even if they met at the 11th, this board could actually meet after that.
We do the 16th, I think.
Well, it still gives us plenty of time. I don't think, I would like to talk to a few people about this, especially, there's a lot of opt-outs, and there's a lot of information here that was given to us, and we haven't had it. I haven't had it for a long time, and I just like to absorb it and think about it and talk to a few people. Some of the departments we're talking about, the 20 cars, and I get you with the 3 cars. I get this. I get the whole scenario, but I'd like to see more about the infrastructure, how this is actually going to work. And the costs that are listed here for some of these charging stations, stage 2, speed charging, what have you. One of the board members mentioned the cost for a home. We're a municipality. Nothing's cheap. Everything gets bloated when these things go in, unless there is a government agency putting them in, doing that, which it's all us. It's all on the taxpayer, no matter where it is. So I just like to have some time to do that. So I
I'm
would be
just going to
hesitant.
reiterate that if we did not have it in the budget
It says in the budget, we would not have to be able to
then
do
we
that.
would not be obligated
Yes,
to buy electric
exactly. We
vehicles.
wouldn't be obligated.
So again, I don't see a downside here.
And I tried to make clear, and again, I know that's a very large document and trying to explain all the details.
Yeah,
and
I got
answer
it.
all
I
the
got
tough questions. One aspect of is there is as you're considering whether this vehicle, first
Yeah.
vehicle, is one that would qualify, that is a factor in the decision. Okay, not only do we need to purchase the vehicle, but we also need to purchase this charging station and install that. And all those costs are what the decision is ultimately based on. And that's, where the off-ramp is, is specifically designed to help you with. But it's also where the grants that pay for it, that basically bring it to zero to install that today,
Right.
is there as well.
I just want to add, just to be clear, Eversource and Metropolitan Area Planning Council provides funding for infrastructure costs up to 100%.
I understand that. I understand also. I read that. But those costs are put onto the taxpayer. We're paying for this. One way or the other. The user of electricity is paying for this. It might not be in your tax bill, but it's in there somewhere as a utility cost, as a homeowner. I mean, you look at your electric bill, and there's more charges on that electric bill you can shake a stick at. So there is a cost involved in all of this. And like I said, I would just like the time to talk to a few people to just make myself comfortable. This is really a lot of information for one night to put this down and vote on it. And we could do this after the 11th. We could even have a special select board meeting to actually have that vote if you wanted to do that. It's
How
just
dare
one time.
you.
But I don't even think, I think there's enough support on this board to pass this. Would you just make a motion and go? I'm just saying that little extra time is not much to ask. But that's my say. But I will make the motion and we'll vote on it. I don't believe it'll fail. It's just, there are just concerns I have. Well, that's all.
Anyone?
Yes, Mr. Conlon.
Thank you. Good evening, Stephen Connolly, 11 Carey Circle. For the record, I was here to support Kids Camp. I wasn't here for this issue, but this issue is out of control right now. We had fewer than 200 people at town meeting approve this article. Now we're standing in a room with 6 of us, and we want to push this through. And the issue of, many of you heralded transparency when you're getting elected. This is not transparent. This is just not the right way to go. I have so many notes, and I'm going to try to get to them very quickly.
Please be very brief. The
Well,
hour is late.
With
and
all due respect, they've taken up a lot of time,
I
too.
don't have to even allow you to speak at all on this matter. I'm doing it. I don't need to allow you to speak on this at all, I'm doing it as a matter of courtesy. So please be brief. Thank you.
Thank you. I would love the next time we have a meeting that we advertise the meeting and we put that paperwork out there. Whenever any big decision is made in business, you have a point and a counterpoint. Whenever a decision, if we're hiring this Greener You, and I'm just hearing about this tonight, to be a consultant for the climate committee, we should hire someone to argue the counterpoint to that. This is a lot of money we're talking about, and to not hear the other side is just not transparent, and it's not good business. In terms of, we went from this town meeting to now we're hiring a full-time position. And in terms of maintenance costs, as someone who had a hybrid vehicle towed today back to the dealer, I can assure you that the maintenance costs are not lower in a hybrid or electric vehicle. Apparently, we've used mitigation funds to fund this committee. If we're doing that, we should use some mitigation funds to fund the opposite side of the argument as well. This committee, although they're very well intentioned, they haven't invited anyone who owns a truck into that committee. We have truck companies in this
Mr.
town.
Connolly,
We have
please-
trucking
please wrap
companies.
it up.
We have a lot of people. They haven't invited the school committee. They haven't invited anyone. And to suggest that we're going to replace any vehicle under 8,500 pounds with an electric vehicle just doesn't make sense. Our DPW workers should be involved in this discussion. They bring home their Ford F-150s, the housing committee, the Parks and Recreation group. Everyone drives a small F-150. It's probably a 3, 4, 5,000 pound vehicle. They have plows on the front. They supplement our plowing in the town. they respond
Okay,
to
Mr.
water leaks
Connolly,
in the
I'm
middle of the night.
gonna, I think we're getting
so
into
much more.
redundant information, so I'm gonna end it here. I'm gonna cut you off here because we
Why
need to
would you
move
cut me
on.
off? I've been a resident of this town for a long
I
time.
understand that.
I'm obviously
I understand
passionate
that.
about this. Why would you cut me off? I asked that.
Because the hour is late and I am under no obligation to allow any citizen to speak on this issue. The deciding body in this is, I'm not going to engage in a dialogue. We're just going to move on.
I came here
All
for a
right.
different issue. And no, point of order, I came here for a different issue. And this should go through the budget process. Absolutely
Thank you for
positively
your
needs to go
comments,
through the
Mr.
budget
Connolly.
process.
Okay.
And for you to cut me off is completely unnecessary. It's
All right.
unprofessional and
Thank you.
unnecessary.
Thank you. All right, I guess I'll entertain a
Will the
motion.
board to motion?
Yes, please, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, let me just get the right paper here. I make a motion that we accept the zero emission vehicle first policy.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Apologize. The motion is to waive.
Okay, the first one would be to waive
of
the.
policy.
Okay,
Correct.
My
Good
fault,
point.
my fault,
Good
thank you. I make a motion to waive the waiting period or review period from the policy.
Second.
Third.
Okay.
Sorry, I said that wrong.
All right, roll call. vote.
Rattled.
All right, those,
Does not require.
does not. Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye.
Yep.
Opposed.
Next, I make a motion that we approve the zero emission vehicle first policy.
Second.
All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed.
Oppose. 3-2.
All right.
Thank you. We're all set.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for all your
Thank
hard
you.
work.
Appreciate it.
May I do a sentence of thank you through the chair?
Yes, you may.
I just, I think that it's really important that we have different perspectives. And I think that your committees have been very forward thinking. And it's hard when you're, when everything's in front of you. And I just appreciate the hard work over the last several years to get to this point.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, committee.
Thank you all. Thank you. Madam Chair, next would be Jody Middleton to discuss, consider approval of a consultant for the town administrator search. Hi, Jody.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm Jody Middleton. I'm the HR director for the town of Canton. I'm here first to talk about the town administrative search. However, first, while I have the floor, if I can I just want to acknowledge that there's no secret that we have had longevity in some key positions retire within the last couple of months. And I put forward to you a lot of interim directors in a lot of key positions. We had an interim fire chief, interim director of facility and grounds, interim town administrator. And I just want to say thank you to all of them for stepping up and doing the role, thanklessly adding to their job duties. And it's a trickle down effect. All the employees have really stepped up with this transition. I'm going to choke up. And have really, a lot gets thrown on all of our employees. The last hour and a half, we have such great committee work, but it's ultimately the town employees that kind of take on some of those responsibilities as well. So with that said, I just want to thank all of them who work tirelessly for the town, because they really just step up without even a moment's asked. So thank you. But it's not sustainable. So that is why I'm here to talk about the town administrative search. Charlie retired early April. We had a lot going on with town meeting and everything like that. So it was not the time to kick up more dust. So we wanted to get through town meeting. Then we wanted to get to the reorg to make sure everything was settled. Jen is doing a fabulous job. So I knew that we can kind of slow down the process and do it right. But in the meantime, we've been working behind the scenes. So we have sent out some proposals or requests for proposals, and we sent out for 3 requests. One, unfortunately, there is a need for town administrators. So one declined to take on our proposal. They just could not fit it in their timeline. So then we got 2 responses back, very comparable. I do believe, but I put in the package, the one that I'm requesting we go through. It's Municipal Resources, Inc. I believe that they will, they fit our culture better, and that they will, I'm asking that we do a comprehensive package with them. On page 13 of the proposal is a graph of the timeline. It should probably take about 60 to 90 days to go through the process. It is very important. You do want to do your due diligence, backgrounds, everything like that. They will do the full marketing, the outreach. They'll write some essay questions. They'll vet them out, things like that. I'm asking that is where you go. Jen, how do I talk about the money?
So as we know, we're coming to the close of the year, and we have had to fund a search for a police chief as well as a fire chief. So our budget is extraordinarily tight. We are requesting, well, Jody's requesting.
I'm requesting.
Mitigation money to pay for this search, so we can get that going as soon as possible.
Yes.
And request is up to $20,000.
Yes. And that is comparable to the other search firms that we have used for other key positions.
Any
Okay.
discussion?
Madam Chair. I move the board approve the firm Municipal Resources, Inc. as the consultant for the town administrator search and authorize the use of mitigation for up to $20,000.
Second that.
Oh, I'll second that, but I thought you had a question.
I do, but once he
Yeah, now
makes
we'll-
it,
Oh,
now
okay.
we'll do discussion. Yeah, point taken.
what account, don't we have to specify which account it's coming from for mitigation?
You don't have to specify it right now. I can talk to Allison Pajorski about what
Which one?
account to
Okay.
use.
I couldn't remember if we had to specify. Okay, that's all I had.
Any other discussion?
What's up?
Oh, all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That vote is unanimous.
Thank you very much. So the next step is I'll reach out to them, probably have to send some contracts. But then I am more than happy to meet with you, maybe, the second or third meeting from now, just to kind of give you an update of where we are. I'm not going to disclose any names. It's a confidential search, but just, how many have applied, things like that. I'm more than happy to come back and update you guys.
All right. Thank you.
Madam
Thank you,
Chair,
Jody.
Jody's here.
I'm going to stay.
You're going to stay? Oh, nice of you to stay. A review on the policy of hiring and personnel action form, please.
Yeah.
Yes, can I just interrupt one moment? I just do want to acknowledge here the person who is both assistant town administrator and town administrator. And I don't know how you're keeping it together, but Jen, thank you. We really,
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you.
Thank
That
you.
is that. Should acknowledge
Very
when we
good, Kim.
appoint them, we do not backfill. So they essentially are doing.
I do think that's an important note to, through you, may I speak? I do think that's important to note because I think, you think if you're the acting anything that someone is stepping into your role. And in this particular case, she's doing two roles.
Correct.
All right, onward.
I'm not going to ask you to make an exemption. I'm gonna come back on the 16th to see if you approval. But just a little background. This is our policy on hiring positions. And initially, it was amended back in June of 2025. It just basically, the select board transferred some of the hiring authority to the town administrator up to a certain level of positions. It was more just to be more efficient. So let's say, all the seasonal staff had to go through the select board at one time. So now it's like July 4th and our, director of the pool decides to quit. Now I have to wait till the end of July till you meet before I can hire anyone. It just was not efficient how it worked. But unfortunately, we were remiss that we kind of did not see in the collective bargaining in one of the unions that there was an oversight. We weren't consistent with a collective bargaining agreement. So we are amending the policy and we are carving out the AFSCME union. So the select board still has the hiring authority for all AFSCME positions. It was just unfortunately an oversight that we did not carve them out in the first place. And we were in contract violations. We're asking that you review it and then amend it on the 16th. Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's it. I think that's all. I think I can go now. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, we have 3 new officers going to go into the police academy next month that the chief mentioned earlier this evening. I move that the board appoint the following police officers: Riley Brown, Jamal Robert, and Elizabeth Smith.
Second.
Right, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Madam Chair, I move that the board approve the personal action form for the Director of Assessing, Mary Tynan.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, I move that the board appoint the Assistant Treasurer Collector, Lisa Carlton.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Madam Chair, I move that the board approve the cost of living adjustments for all full and part-time personnel board members, 2.5%.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Very good, thank you.
Madam Chair, this is on you.
This is me. I'm going to put on my bylaw modernization hat right now. Part of our review, it has been to, as we've gone through the bylaws, is looking at fines and fees. There's a couple of issues that have come up. A lot of it is just, does this fee sound right to you? But in this case, there's 2 things that need the attention of the board. So if you all have that in your agenda. So this first one with regard, pardon me, to discharge of hazardous materials, the issue is, as you see, it says a fine of not more than $300, but with non-criminal disposition, which is what we're talking about here, it has to be a fixed amount. And based on Mass General Law, current, the default would be $50, which, so we just need to discuss what we think would be an appropriate fee for something like that. So with that, I will open that for discussion. Does anyone have any thoughts?
Did we talk to the building department?
Not on this one, because it has to be set by the select board.
No, but just their
Yeah,
opinion on
yeah.
how often is this happening and.
That's a good question. Do you know the answer to that, Jen?
Not that I'm aware of. So the way we've been handling this sort of during our bylaw committee meetings is because there are so many of these fines that feel out of sync or not quite, maybe they might need some adjusting. The law or the Mass General Law says not more than 300. So often we've been deciding 300. Just because that's the maximum. And obviously, in order to have this fine, you would have to have violated this bylaw. So it's not a fee we're adding on. It's
Right.
only if you are violating the bylaw. So that's kind of the consensus of what we've been discussing with other bylaws that we've discussed at during the committee. All that being said, you can basically decide any fee you would like.
Ultimately, this will all be voted on at town meeting. So we're not changing the fine. We're
Right.
just making a recommendation to town meeting.
Did the committee have a recommendation?
Not on this particular one. I mean, my instinct is, and this goes back to 2000, this particular bylaw. My instinct would be to set it at 300, but that's, again, not etched in stone. This is something that ultimately will go to town meeting and be voted on. But we just need input from the board on this particular issue.
And 300 is consistent with what you're looking at for the other ones that aren't in front of us?
There's a lot that have been, as Jen said, so a lot of these fines, we're like sent this to the police department for review and this to the building department for review, depending on the nature of the fine.
Yep.
So we're waiting to hear back from those folks on what they think the appropriate fines should be adjusted to.
I think it should be 300 too.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think 300 is fine.
Okay.
I still think that we take that step and just
Mhm.
talk with the building department and just see if he's like, no, that's way too high.
Yeah.
We can just amend it at a
So
future meeting.
And we can definitely do that.
Yeah.
We have plenty of time to do that. Okay. Anything you want to chime in on? Okay. Anything?
Nope.
Okay,
No, fine.
great. Do you want to make a motion on that, JR?
Do we have to vote on it? Is it a voting thing? We do?
Oh, that's a good point. Do we
No,
have
it's
to
just a
vote on it? We're just
discussion.
making a recommendation. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah, we're just making a recommendation. So the next one is poles and overhead wires, which obviously in public spaces, that's problematic to say the least. Clothesline some poor truck. So there's as you can see below, a recommended range on this one, because this is criminal, not non-criminal, of 1,000 to 5,000 for each consecutive 15-day period, which such failure continues. So again, just looking for input from the board on whether they think that.
When was the last time we had a violation of this?
I think I'm
This
trying
comes
to,
up a lot in the bylaw meetings of like, when was this fee last
Was it ever
assessed to
used?
anyone ever?
I mean, I don't know, who's putting up poles? You know?
and then
Just
failing
kidding.
to remove them. Like I thought it was a misprint. I thought, like, if a truck takes them down, like, because they're not paying attention, like, all right, you got to pay to get that back up.
No,
But
it's the other way around.
I think, I thought it'd be associated with poles and banners at one time,
Well, that's
downtown or
what
something,
I-
maybe, I don't know.
Like, stringing those banners across
Yeah.
Washington Street, for instance.
Probably
but-
that.
all right, okay, yeah. So yeah, it doesn't say electrified. So yeah.
No,
okay.
You know,
correct, which is also what I
It's just,
agree.
yeah.
This is the crazy nitty gritty of bylaws, guys.
And they're looking for a fine not less than 1,000 and not more than
We
5,000?
can keep that range.
If that was the rate for this, I'd just assume keep it the same. I don't think anybody has violated that in 26 years. So,
Rob, but if
You
someone
never
does
know.
violate it, we want to make
Yeah.
sure we have appropriate, teeth. I'm on the same page with you on that. I
That's it,
think we
yeah.
just want to keep it where it is.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
the next one is, I move that the board authorize a request for the use of mitigation in the amount of $185,000 for the additional costs to construct the retaining wall at the Hanson.
Second.
Second, may I
Please.
discuss?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the project that the select board put forth for repairing the retaining wall at the Hanson Playground Ball Field. The original town engineer had spec'd out a certain part of the wall that needed to be replaced immediately. We have a interim town engineer who went down and looked at it, also with the building department. And along this wall is also a set of stairs that are no longer in compliance. They don't meet the current codes and the wall gets extended past that. So basically it almost doubled in size, the actual scope of work that's being done. We funded the first half of this with what we thought was going to take care of it with mitigation funds. I don't think there's something that we should be waiting for next town meeting to do. It's in a vital area of the Hanson Playground and the ball fields. And by doing this, we'll enable the Recreation Department to fully fund it and get this project completed.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, all right. I just wanted to ask you, so did Alphonse say this is going to be a problem? When he first.
Alphonse didn't say the stairs were, the building inspector went down and inspected and they were not in compliant with the current building codes. So for us to actually perform work would not be appropriate if we don't make the wall compliant.
Right.
Yeah, I get that.
So it was an oversight.
It was
by the-
basically
by the
just a,
manager.
let's repair this section and not look at it as a whole, which is what the building
Got it.
department did.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion?
Just, when we talked about this before, we were using the contractor for the middle school to help with that wall, right? I don't remember if it was dirt.
Yes,
or-
I don't know how far that went with the fill if
Yeah.
needed, yeah.
So do we know if they're,
I don't know that, but I could contact Tyler and see if we need what they need for fill. I imagine they could, especially at the time frame, it'd probably
it's
be
going to work
perfect.
out perfect? That's,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. So,
No.
um,
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Yep.
How much did it cost last time?
It was, I believe, 138,000, some
Yeah.
135, 138.
I'm like, geez. Okay.
You know, and there is a contingency built into us too, so we
we're gonna
know
do
that
it.
we're covered.
All right. Thank you for that. All right.
So now we just got to vote on it.
Board on make a motion. Oh,
Yeah,
we made a
already did.
motion.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the hour is late.
It's quite all right.
So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Very good, unanimous.
Is Gene Manning here?
He is not.
So this was the pilot that he had presented.
That's right.
So this was the pilot, the Hellenic pilot program. I think it was $100,000.
It was a little higher than that.
A little higher than that. That in lieu of taxes, they had made out an agreement with the town, Hellenic and the town. So I move that the board approve the pilot for the Hellenic Center and execute same.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to kind of have an opportunity to explain what this is because I didn't know much about, when I hear pilot, I think of like a new program that's launching
The
somewhere.
Hellenic is a nonprofit,
Yes.
right? So they entered in this payment in lieu of taxes.
Yeah, so it's an acronym,
Basically, the
not-
town services, which is the police and fire, mostly the fire department, make multiple calls at these particular centers, and the town's just trying to get some of that cost back, and they negotiated this with the Hellenic in
Yeah.
good faith.
So in this term, pilot is an acronym, which is payment
Yeah,
in lieu of
yeah,
taxes.
yeah.
It's not like a new program,
Nope, it's
which
been around for a
in
long time. Yeah.
many residents might think
A
it's a
very
new
fair point,
program.
yes.
But that's what the
But
arrangement that's made.
The town administrator and Mr. Manning had met with them, and they had this agreement, so it worked
Okay.
out good for the town.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, we voted on that, right?
Yes.
Okay, we did.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good, unanimous. All right, next. we're gonna-
Okay, this
Oh,
one,
sorry.
Madam Chair, I move the board appoint the select board members to the following committees. We haven't assigned it, but it's the Master Plan Implementation Committee for a one-year term, the Community Preservation Committee for a one-year term, and the Moderator Appointment Bylaw Committee Modernization, one-year term. So do we have members of the board that are
Yes.
willing to
Who
go?
Expressed interest.
I'm interested in the Master Plan Implementation Committee.
In community preservation.
Yes, and I had want to continue my work on the bylaw modernization committee. Any discussion?
Okay, so I just, hold on, and CPC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Seeing none?
Hold on one second.
No?
I think I should do this a little bit more formally here, if you don't mind. Madam Chair, I move that we appoint to the Master Planning Implementation Committee Julie Beckham, to the Community Preservation Committee Patricia Boyden, and moderator appointment, the Bylaw Committee Sue Harrington.
All right.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, excellent. Okay.
Madam Chair, I move the board appoint the following police department representatives to the following committees: Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee, Police Chief Michael Daniels; Canton Alliance Against Substance Abuse, Police Chief Michael Daniels; Constable, Deputy Police Chief Gifford Cruz; and Permit Advisory Committee and Constable Lieutenant Charles Ray.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye. Madam Chair, I move the board appoint the school committee representative for the Master Plan Implementation Committee, Sonia Garage.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Madam Chair, I move the board appoint the Canton Housing representative to the Community Preservation Committee, Agnes Hagan.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstain, as on the Housing Authority.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I move the board appoint the following to the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee: Angela Chan, Christian Santiago, Alicia.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Madam Chair, I move that the board appoint the following to the Canton Cultural Council: Farzan Gibbons, Tarishma Allen, Joanne Conley.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Before we move on to the next item, I just want to express my sincere gratitude to all these citizens who've stepped up to serve on committees. We really, really appreciate that, and it's what makes this town hum. Mr. Clerk.
Madam Chair, I move the board approve a request to hold the Clark Runs on Duncan 5K road race to be held on Sunday, October 18th, 2026, beginning at 10 a.m. from the Dunkin' Donuts offices on Royal Street, contingent on police, fire, and building approval, and written confirmation from Point 32 to ensure there is no sports or other conflicts on the property at the same time as the road race.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye. Madam Chair, I move the board approve the Southeastern Regional Surge Group Surge DPW Supply Award for 7/1/2026 to 6/30/2027.
Second.
All right, I just want to point out, and this is again another order of a sort of public education, that this and the next two motions are because our town participates in a purchasing group with other communities that allow us to get a lower price on supplies, and that's what this is about. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Madam Chair, I move that the board approve the Southeastern Regional Service Group Surge DPW Award for paper contract for 7/1/2026 through 6/30/2027.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, I move the board approve the Southeastern Regional Service Group Surge DPW Water and Sewer Treatment Chemical Award for 7/1/2026 to 6/30/2027.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, I move that the board approve a block party at 9 Helen Drive on June 12th, 2026, from 4 p.m. to 11:30 p.m., contingent on building, police, and fire approval.
Oh, second.
Okay, any discussion?
Is that, I didn't know if anyone was here for that. No? You're here for this. Okay. I think, yeah, would you like to talk about this?
Yeah, it's actually a graduation party, but that was the only form that was available. It's just, well, if you, I don't know if you have the map in front of you,
Yep.
but our house is kind of a unique spot. It's kind of,
Mhm.
our daughters are graduating. So we're hoping to just alleviate some, where we have some water issues in the back. So it allows us a little bit of flexibility if it rains a lot to pull some things to the front. And then just so nothing's spilling out into the street, we're hoping to just shut down. Oh, I'm sorry.
Things in the front meeting, things like cornhole. and
Yeah.
ping pong, will only take up half the road and will not prohibit any emergency vehicle from being able to get through the gate.
And there's, on the map, there's indicated where the fire hydrants are, so.
It's a unique spot. We probably have 200 yards in front of our house, where there's no other house in that part of the street. It's just,
So
it's fitting for that type of event. That's all.
Well, I just applaud you by playing by the rules. I mean, I know we probably shouldn't like applaud people from playing by the rules.
Put up a few cones, I suppose.
Because I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? But it is very important just because of police and fire and any, neighbors. I saw that you contacted the neighbors and they're all fine with that.
Yeah.
And then, I hope the wait for this meeting is worth it with
Oh,
the
no,
party.
it's
And yeah.
Any other discussion?
Nope, have fun.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks
Thanks for your
to
time.
Appreciate your time.
Do we vote yet?
Do we have to vote?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Moving on. My laptop's about to die.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, the vendor warrant total for the week of 5/21/26, $3,277,395.23. The vendor warrant total for the week of 5/28/26 is $526,210.61. The payroll warrant total for the 5/28/26 is $2,140,360.15.
Very good.
Madam Chair, I move that the board approve the water and sewer commitment final bills in the amount of $6,366.04.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Madam Chair, I move the board approve the water and sewer commitment residential in the amount of $4,272,844.59.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Madam Chair, I move the board approve the cemetery lot perpetual care deed.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Madam Chair, I move the board approve the minutes for the select board meeting of May 19th, 2026.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. We have the town administrator's update.
So this is exciting. The town, it is. The town's communication specialist has developed the first edition of Canton Connect. It's a new quarterly newsletter that's intended to keep the residents informed of town news, projects, events, that sort of thing. So residents are being encouraged to look at the newsletter on the town's website under the Canton Connect page.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Memorial Day, just want to acknowledge and give our sincere appreciation to the Veteran Services Officer and all those involved in putting together the ceremony that we all know because of the rain had to be held at the Legion. But it was a fantastic ceremony and just a great way for the community to get together and celebrate those who have died during the service to the nation. The town hosted Public Works Appreciation Day. We recently recognized the dedicated employees of the Department of Public Works during the Public Works Appreciation Day. We're grateful for their hard work and commitment to maintaining the town's infrastructure, facilities, and essential services throughout the year. And finally, I just want to announce, just to get it out there, we do have several employment opportunities. So the town is continuing to recruit for key positions, including assistant to the Director of Assessing, Board of Health Sanitarian, Town Engineer, Town Administrator, and individuals interested in employment opportunities with the town are encouraged to visit the Human Resources page on the town website for additional information. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have an announcement, if I may. The Canton Lions Fund Drive will be held on Saturday, June 13th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Keller Williams Realty, 531 Washington Street, Canton, Mass. In the back parking lot. They're collecting clothing in bags, books in boxes, media in boxes, small appliances in boxes, household goods in boxes. And all items shall be clean, dry, and in good condition. Please help if you can.
On Thursday night at 6:30 sharp, there'll be a candidates forum at the Kitten Public Library in the community room downstairs. It'll be for the Norfolk County DA candidates, which 6 people are planning on attending. And for the 4 folks, including Michael Cochran, running for 6th Norfolk, I can never say Norfolk.
It's where you live, so.
Yeah, I know, it is. It's, thank God I don't live in the town. Anywho, state rep candidates. So, yeah, please try to make it.
Any other announcements?
I have just a couple.
Okay.
I want to first, graduation is this weekend, really exciting. And just last month, the more than 70 organizations or individuals in the town awarded more than $200,000 in scholarships to 93 different students in the high school. And I think that's really remarkable, that it really tells how giving this community is to its students. And I just think that's something that not everyone attends and understands. And it's just such a good way to give back, that many individuals have established legacies, and organizations and businesses have done that as well. Speaking of legacies, I do want to acknowledge that our past fire chief Ronayne passed away, and he was surrounded by his family, and that was last week. And just thank him for his service throughout the town. And I also wanted to acknowledge CHS graduate class of 1991 firefighter Kilduff, his passing in Boston as a Boston firefighter. His family some of them still reside as Canton residents, and it's a huge loss to his family. And I think that as a Canton High School graduate and resident, I think it's important that we acknowledge that and thank him for his service as well.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, the Select Board will hold its next meeting on Tuesday, June 16, 2026, 7 PM, Sala Meeting Room, Memorial Hall, 801 Washington Street. I'm making a motion to adjourn at 8:52.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Good
you,
night,
everyone.
everybody.
Point during the evening, he came in. I don't remember if he came into the dispatch or if I just saw him on one of the numerous monitors we have in dispatch. I can't leave that room because I'm the only one in the building on midnight. So, but we never talked or anything like that.
He said I never talked to Higgins. Maybe saw him on the cam. 6 minutes in the control room. What a solid little jam. Boy, he played it straight, but the footage rolled him flat. Now a text from Proctor hit. Guess who's wearing that hat? Goods gone bad. From the badge to the bench. Drowning in excuses, smelling that stench. The text don't lie, but the witness sure tried. Now it's suspended with pay while the truth gets fried. Dispatch to Fairview, cruisers in the loop. 2 in the back lot, 1 watching the troop. Can't fulfill the order, but he'll fulfill the spin. Didn't see a thing, but I'll testify again. Goods gone bad in the Canton Code. Another one falling down that blue line road. Percolate the fuse and now the blast is cleared. Your text chain singing, the end is near. Badge on the vest, still collecting that check. Town watching karma come for the wreck. Every lie a brick, every cover a wall. Now that wall crashing it, it's taking them all. Goods gone bad, you can hear the clang. Proctor's text rang out, that's the sound of bang. From the stand to the station, truth got played, but the Chronicle called it and the price got paid.
It's the Chronicle signing off with a flame. Dropping names, spitting facts, shaking up the game. It's fire, it's grit, it's no holds barred. A mic in one hand, the town on guard. The truth hits harder than a Fairview brawl, and the Chronicle's here to expose it all. From cover-ups to donut runs, we light up the night like Canton Suns. Next episode, yeah, we'll be back with more names, more flames, and a truth to say.
The URL to that is